Hey there everybody, Brian Harris here from Dayton, Ohio. Thanks for tuning in to my brand new 2018 DJ console rig build video. As you can see right behind me is the new system. I'm very excited to share that with you. If you're familiar with my previous video of my previous build that I put up about a year ago on Facebook, you remember that I used an Odyssey Black Label 1U, which is a one space underneath the controller. That allowed for me to pack it tight. It was very tight. I put everything in there that I could, and no more space for anything else. This one here is also a Black Label case from Odyssey, but it's a 2U space, which is a two space, which gives you that extra depth from below the controller to the bottom of the case. But also, because of that size of the case, it's also a lot deeper from front to back. So that gives me a lot more real estate to work with, a lot more breathing room. In fact, I could actually stick a few more things inside that case if I really wanted to, which is pretty nice. Of course, it adds a little bit more to the weight from the size, but it's okay. I'm a strong guy. So what you're gonna see here is what I've been working on over the last couple months, December into January 2018, and the last piece to the puzzle was really the skirting that goes around the booth. And I was just waiting on my seamstress to put that together, and she did a fantastic job, and we'll talk about that as well in the video. So again, thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, post them in the comments below. Peace. All right, here is the rig from the back side. So you can see the whole thing, top to bottom. By the way, you're in my office here with me. This is where I do all my consultations and planning meetings, or as my wife likes to call it, my man cave. All right, let's take a look at this rig, starting at the very top. We'll break down every little nook and cranny that we can to give you an idea of what's gone into the build. So right here, well, first of all, let me say that the way you see this laptop and the shelf is the way that it is going to be. Very clean. I learned a lot with my previous rig, and if you saw my previous rig, you remember that I had an AV Lifesavers mini mixer right here, and on top of that, to cover the wires that go down to the hole, I had a 3D printed box to the specs that I needed. And so not only did that serve as a cover to hide the wires and from the audience perspective, it also allowed me to mount a 6-inch gooseneck and my iPad on top of that. But with this new rig, I wanted a very, very clean look from the audience perspective without all that extra stuff. And this, for my OCD, this makes a nice, clean, a little bit more symmetrical, at least on the laptop part, because I had that box that was raised up about 6 inches, and it just, from the other side, it just looked a little lopsided. Anyway, what you see right here are a right angle, or I believe they call them downward angle cables, USB. One goes directly to my external hard drive. The other one is an extension that goes to the USB cable for the controller. So this keeps a nice clean laptop shelf, so there's not cables running from over here to there. Yeah, I know. That doesn't seem to be a big deal to have cables running because that's normal. But if I can find a way to make things cleaner, by golly, I will do it. So that's really the only cable for the power that is running through that hole. It just didn't make sense to run the power up through here and over there. It really didn't. So now, as far as my iPad goes, what I'm using are these Onstage boom stands, which are really nice little boom stands. They have the telescoping extension that gives you the extra length that you might need. This one is all the way in. And let's take a look at the back side here. This iPad holder is from a different rig that I had. But I've got, you can see here, this flange is a female flange. I screwed it to this plastic iPad holder, and then I also Gorilla Glued all around the edge to really keep it on there nice and solid and firm. And as you see, what's screwed into that piece is this little multi-angle ball bearing piece made by Audio-Technica. And what's great about this is this ball bearing here, it could swivel any way you want. Down here, same thing, swivel any way you want. So it really allows for any angle that you desire. It's a great little piece. For those of you that might be wondering, what is this? This is, what do you use the iPad for? What are we looking at here? Well, I use my iPad for grand entrance scripts, and I use it for love story scripts. And the app that I'm using here is called Prompt Smart. It looks like this. Prompt Smart. And what's nice about this is as I speak, it'll move by itself. I'll give you an example. Right over here is Cheryl's father. He's retired from Goodyear and General Products and is a good old boy from Paducah, Kentucky. If you ever call him on the phone, he is sure to answer it. Nello? Cheryl says it must be the way they teach it in the South. Welcome, Mr. Chuck Collier. That movement that you saw there was all from it hearing me speak those words. Pretty nice. Okay, same thing over here, same boom stand, but I have this one fully extended. And the way that I have these two guys mounted, right down in the very dense foam of the case, I drilled holes just the right size for the pole that's going down inside to fit snugly, but still to be able to move it around. And this boom actually stops right here. And then the pole that goes down in the hole is separate. But what you see right there in between is a quick release attachment. As you can see here, if I was to pull that down with one hand and lift up with the other, it would pull it right out of there. So it makes it really nice for being able to release really quickly. And that pole, including the bottom half of this quick release, will clear the laptop shelf when I pull it back to close it up and put it away. All right, next piece we're going to talk about, as you can see back here, is the AV Lifesavers. That was once up there on my old rig, now is down here, positioned in a completely different way, which is nice because I can still reach it with no problem for volume control, but it's out of the way. And once I remove the controller here in a little bit to show you the guts, you'll get a better idea of how that is mounted. All right, let's take a look down here. Well, first of all, we've got a dual handheld mic holder. Drop your mics right down in there. They just hang there nice and neat. Easy access. You don't have to, I see some guys that will actually put them down in the holes up here, which is, that works too, but I like them a little bit closer to me. And down here, I've got the Trip Light surge suppressor. I believe it's the Isobar 12. And then I'm currently using the EV RE2s, which will be upgraded soon. We'll be selling these. I've got 5 of them. So if you're interested, let me know. All right, I am using, let's go right here. We've got a cup holder. And this is actually, can be found on Amazon. It's made by a company called Drive. and they actually make these for wheelchairs. But I'm able to make it work for me. There's already holes in this stand I'm using, and just run it right through. Quick, quick to mount it and remove it after the event. I'm using a Quick Lock stand. I believe it's the Quick Lock 540. And what's really nice about this stand is it gives you all this space underneath. Whereas before I was using an X stand on my old rig, and you could not fit anything under an X stand just given the framework. So this allows for storage underneath, and I'm using one of my Bose compacts, completely broken down, without the extensions, just like you see here, the way you'd put it away. I'm using that as a monitor for beat mixing. And I'm coming right out of the main out of the RCA main out. Over here, we've got, let's see here. This is it's a little headphone holder. Also, you can get it on Amazon. I've kind of reconfigured the angles here to make it work for me. But I can just slide it on in there, hang the headphones, good to go. All right, I guess it's now time to remove this controller, and let's take a look at what's going on underneath. By the way, in case anyone's wondering what this is back here, this is your piece that goes on the back side here when you put it away. It just helps cover everything up that you're seeing from the back side. Even though mostly we see this and the client doesn't, or the guests don't, there's always people that come back to make a request, right? Or to talk to you or whatever. So it just, it kind of neatens up and hides everything that you can't make 100% clean underneath when you've got tons of cables and everything going on underneath. So just something to consider using. I think it looks much better with the carpet side than it does with that. It does kind of illuminate the lights that are underneath, but that's kind of annoying to look at. So I'd much rather have it like that. A little bit softer on the eyes. Okay, the guts of the controller rig. Always interesting to see when you remove that controller. Thank goodness we've got that controller to cover all this mess. So as mentioned, the Isobar 12 Ultra is this surge suppressor that I use to plug everything into. We've got controller power, we've got laptop power, we have power that goes to this wall wart for this little Behringer Mixer I'll talk about later. We've got the two receivers, EV RE2s. We got an iPhone charger, and that goes all the way back here and allows me to put my phone up here on that little piece here that I mentioned that covers the wires. And then this here is power for that little hub back there. In that hub, we have a power for iPad in case I forget to charge my iPad. And then we've got this little guy here is for a volume control that I use whenever I need to walk away from my booth but control the volume up and down from away. I have a little tiny handheld remote for that. This guy here is power for the lighting. I've got a strip that goes all the way around the underside of the laptop shelf. That little teeny guy right there is for the mouse that I use up top. All right, as you can see here, the AV Lifesaver mini mixer is now mounted vertically with an L bracket. Thanks to Joe Banofsky for that suggestion. I was just kind of racking my brain trying to decide how can I mount this thing vertically like this. And he's like, man, why don't you just use an L bracket? Like, brilliant idea. So it's the little things in life, right? This is a 5-inch L bracket. And okay, so let's talk about the Behringer Mixer. I'm not using this Behringer Mixer as part of this rig. This is a backup in case the controller was to die on me for some reason. I've got another controller, my other rig that you've seen in the other video. That is my backup piece that would be out in my trailer that I would eventually get. But this little guy here is going to help get me by until I can get that. So if the controller was to die, I've got everything pre-wired, and that's all this stuff back here. And I can just pull that out, run out to the speakers, run this stuff up to the laptop, and change my output on Virtual DJ to be the sound card, the internal sound card of the laptop. And we would be back in action within a minute or less, hopefully. That's the plan anyway. All right, so we've got power to the controller. That goes out to the mini mixer over here. Here's my hard drive. This, as mentioned earlier, these guys that come down here, you can see there's the extension. That's for the controller. So I've got that gaff taped so that it cannot pull away from itself. And then the other one here that you see running up there, that goes to my external hard drive. And once everything is inside, this guy lies flat right there underneath. Perfect little shelf for the external hard drive. All right, I do believe that is it. Let me see, take one more look here. Looks like I've covered everything. As always, if you have any questions, oh yeah, one more thing. Let's talk about the main out. I've got these little jumper cables from NLFX. Of course, I always get everything from NLFX, and I highly recommend that you do too. See, NLFX for all my cables. If you want the absolute best, you've got to get it from them. Vinsto and Katie over at NLFX are the greatest. I highly recommend that you buy from them because their customer service is absolutely the best. So these little jumper cables go back there, and let's pull away this skirting. By the way, I had a local seamstress sew this for me, and she sews in the soft side onto the skirting. I have it, cut to size, and I just add the hard side of the Velcro to the case. So let's remove this so we can get to the back side and see what's going on back here for running out. So right now I'm not plugged in, but as you can see, I've got those little jumper cables that go right into the back of the case. So I plug right in there and go right out to my speakers from there. So there you have it. That is the new 2018 Brian Harris Entertainment Pioneer SX2 Black Label Odyssey case rig modification. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please drop them below. Thank you.